is up, App Nation? It is Steve P. Young, founder of appmasters.com. And in this video, I'm super excited about this. Got to meet this person and I was like, Natasha, please come on. She went from bootstrapping her app to now building a multi-million-dollar business. She was a former lawyer, so I want to talk to her about how her legal background helped inform her decision. But without further ado, let's bring in the CEO and co-founder of the amazing STRETCHIT app, Natasha Nikolaeva. Here she is. Natasha, welcome to the show.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Steve. Thanks. That was a great introduction.
Well, you've got a great camera setup. I can only try to match your great camera setup that you have right now, too.
Yeah, filming from our STRETCHIT headquarters. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I love your podcast.
Oh, thank you so much, Natasha. I just want to highlight the app itself. I mean, phenomenal job on the app. The visuals are amazing. The content is amazing. The videographer, because I don't know if he's still there, but he's amazing as well. So congratulations on the success of the app.
Thank you. Yeah, he's here. He's smiling.
Got to give him his praise. All right. Well, let's talk about the early days, Natasha. Tell me about the early days when it was just an idea for you.
So yeah, it's actually started kind of randomly. I was a lawyer, as you said, and I thought that was going to be my lifetime career. I was in corporate law doing M&A. It was really fun job, very close to business, legal side, but close to business, like both, you know, a little bit of both worlds.
Right.
And I moved to New York. I went to law school here so that I get admitted and can practice in New York. And while I was in the law school, I got into stretching and fitness, and my life got more flexible. I got more flexible. And also the law school, because sometimes I had classes in the morning, sometimes at night. So it wasn't as structured as being a lawyer at the office where we have to be there at like 9, 10 a.m. and stay till late at night. So after I graduated, I took the bar exam, I passed, and then I realized I didn't want to go back to the office because I had a career before law school here in New York. At the same time, I was into stretching, into fitness, and I realized I just decided I want to do something, my own business. I didn't know what it's going to be at first, so I talked to my sister, and we started a different project. We like tried here and there, and it took us about 6 months when we realized that we were also in dancing. So we started with dancing, tested that, the audience was too small. And then we realized, yes, stretching is the future, because basically marketers hate that when I say it, but everybody needs to stretch, every person in the world. So, and it helped us so much. My back pain from sitting all day was gone. People were thinking I'm a gymnast and all those things. And it just, I connected with my body. I felt so much happier, so much healthier. So, and we realized, so we wanted to share that with the world. We were not thinking about apps, we were thinking about fitness. So that's also interesting thing, I think, because many people come to apps because they want to create apps. And we just wanted to share stretching. So we met in Bali, went to the beach, and we're just talking business ideas and stretching. So we were sure it's going to be stretching. We didn't know how to film. We didn't know how to edit videos, but that was something we knew. I knew it would be easy to learn. And I actually did learn that. But then the question was, how do we distribute that? How do we deliver that to people? And I had no idea how those apps got on phones at all. So, and we were like, yeah, you know, DVDs maybe, but it was 2014, but still we knew DVDs is not the future for sure. So we thought naturally apps. And then we were like, yeah, but how do we even start? I had an iPhone, but that's as far as I could get with apps, you know. But then we realized we were actually staying in the same villa with our friends, and they were coders. So we just got back home, asked them a few questions. How do we? They were a little. I wish you could see how they looked at us. We're just getting back from the beach, and like, okay, we're gonna do an app. How do we start? Like, okay. And so that's basically how it started. In the beginning, it was just me and my sister. We did hire coders, of course, because I still don't know how to code, but that was it. We hired one of our trainers to create the program, and it took us 2 years to launch. We made all mistakes possible. Our coders used wrong code. It wasn't a native code. It was, I forgot how it's called. When you code once.
Yeah, cross-platform. Because somebody has a question: is it native or cross-platform in here?
Now it's native. It used to be cross-platform.
Okay.
It was a huge mistake. Coders back then were very excited about the code, and they promised we would save money. They would just code once. We'll have app working on both platforms. But at least back then, so our app was so complicated for this code, so they had to, there were so many bugs, and they had to fix that over and over and over again. So 2 years it took them to launch. Now I can launch similar in 6 months. So then it was 2 years. I wish we didn't wait for that long, but when we didn't have much money, so we were just using our savings to create that. So, and we were waiting. So finally we launched. And it wasn't really working. So many bugs. Interesting enough, we also launched, and people could start trials, but the content stayed locked. That was a fiasco.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Like that. And we did have users starting from day one, because we were smart enough to start running Instagram a year and a half in advance. For people who are waiting for us to launch. And so then they go to the App Store, they download the app, they start the free trial, and they don't get any access. I randomly learned that for day one, because I asked my friend in Canada to download it, and that's what he told me. And also we did a soft launch. We didn't launch in the US right away. We launched in other countries. But yeah, and then the same thing happened with Android. And then 6 months in, we knew it wasn't working. So we fired that team, hired new team. We still work with the new team. Now it's not new. We've been working with them since 2017, but then we had to redo from scratch using native code for both platforms.
Natasha, I think this is in line with the question that I wanted to ask you anyways, is 303 Experience says, how did you get your first 100 users? So talk to me about this pre-launch Instagram strategy that you deployed.
So yeah, so I was, before we even started working on the app, when I mentioned I was into fitness, I was into dancing. So it was actually pole dancing. So it was an interesting twist.
Yeah.
When I was in law school here. So back then, so now more and more people know what's pole dance, pole fitness, all these classes where you get strong and flexible. Has nothing to do with stripping. It's just the exercise. But back then, I remember my classmates in the law school were like, what is she doing? She has this career, Daily Piper, it's international law firm, large one, really great one. And then she's like taking this pole dancing classes. She's trying to be a stripper, like what's happening? People were confused. But thanks to that experience, we actually knew, and here in New York, we went to the studio where all champions trained. So we had access to people who really needed stretching. And all around the world, it was really hard to find a good flexibility program, even online. People would come to New York to go to the studio we went to just to stretch, so through that community, it was easy to us to reach to people and share what we've had been working on. So like I said, a year and a half before we launched the app, we started running an Instagram account. Also, Instagram changes a lot all the time. And back then, I think it was easier to grow than it's right now. Actually, no.
Was it this one, the STRETCHIT app? Like,
yes,
so you already
yes,
knew you were going to call it STRETCHIT app, and you've got, just for the people who are just listening, and you can't see this, you got over 683,000. So that's that's over 500,000 followers on Instagram as well. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so we started with 0.
Yeah.
0 followers. I followed, my sister followed, 2 first followers, 2 first users also. And then, yeah, we were active on Instagram. We were posting constantly. We were doing challenges with these people from the community. So our first users were people interested in pole dancing and pole dance training, pole fitness. So they all needed to be flexible. They were very interested. They were following us. Then also, before we released the app, because this was taking so long, we actually posted our classes on a platform that was aimed specifically at pole dancers. The classes are not available there anymore. It was just like a test run for maybe 6 months or a year, I forgot. But that also helped us test the classes before we even launched the app, and that also help people to learn more about us. So basically, when we were finally, also we did beta testing. When for that, we also announced that on Instagram. So we got I forgot how many, maybe 100 or something people who were willing to test. That also helped because those people were aware and then they were waiting for launch. And then when we launched, we were just announcing on Instagram every day. We were like, okay, so we're launching in Canada. Which country should we go next? And people would message like Germany, France. And so that helped a lot. So if you're working on an app, just think about your marketing beforehand. It's really helpful because nobody would come. I think it's just such a terrible thing, to just hope like, okay, I'm going to release, it's going to be available on the App Store. There are so many people, they'll find my app and they'll start using it. But that's not, that's not how it works. So make sure, and with social media, it's actually so easy now to get to people. And I mentioned before that Instagram has changed so much, but then also now Instagram is so big on Reels. And I see people getting to millions of followers just from posting Reels. So everybody can do that. Everybody can grow organically and just share about your product in advance, show some teasers so that you make sure you do have people who would download on day one, on day two, before anything else kicks in. That was really helpful because we were making revenues from month one because of that. Small, but still.
Yeah, no, amazing. And I'm always like that. I'm like, hey, any win is a win. Natasha, I've been trying to find your early content and you've been consistently posting throughout the whole years. Obviously, it's like 7-8 years in, right? So, but I think people don't see, they just see the top of the numbers where they're like, oh, this app is doing amazing, ranking really well. According to Sensor Tower, doing really well from a revenue perspective too, but you don't see the hard work that you put in years before you even launched the app. And I love that because it reminds me of something that I did too. Like I launched the podcast, not knowing what the business was going to be. And then the audience told me that, hey, help me with my marketing, help me with my app launch early on. And so it talks to like just having a community before you do anything. They'll tell you what you want. As long as you share good content.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And what do you see on Instagram right now? Because we archived so many posts. So you see a few thousand, but it's actually several times more than that. It's just when we started, it was normal on Instagram for these public accounts where they would just share other people's content. And of course, day one, we didn't have enough content to post for that we created. But that was normal when you just repost someone else's picture and then you tag them and add some inspirational quote. And we had hundreds of those. And then when we grew and we started producing our content, we just archived all those old posts so that we don't have other people stuff on our page. So it's hard work. We started with posting, I think, 5 times a day.
Wow.
Can you believe that? That's how it works. Now I think it's going to be too much for Instagram, but back then, every time you post, you got new followers and then new followers. So 5 times a day, just me and my sister doing everything.
Is that her or? I'm just guessing.
No, those are our users. This is
okay.
Content of our users that we shared. She's somewhere here, but she's not. She doesn't do as many shoots as I do. So we need to maybe. If I see her, I'll tell you. But it's mostly me, and then here's its users. Yeah, it's still old times when we were posting pictures. You see, now we don't post any pictures at all.
Yeah, I went down. This is me scrolling forever as you were talking. This is all I just kept doing. And so I just wanted to see the early days. Did you have any like mental blocks of posting? Because I tend to have this too. And I'm just like, and I'm doing it obviously on my own personal account. So I'm always like, oh, what are my friends going to think? Are they going to, is this not even a good content? What if it gets little views? Did you have any blockers like that in the early days?
I didn't really, but it's interesting that I was a very closed person in terms of sharing my personal life or sharing myself at all on social media while I was a lawyer. It wasn't directly connected with that. It's not that we had any policies, but I wasn't interested really. So I created my Facebook page in 2011 before I moved to New York because I thought I'll need it for the law school. Like, how do I, where I'm going to learn about all these parties. So that was the reason I actually created my Facebook page in 2011. And so in 2013, I was posting all the time, and I was into stretching. So I was posting myself. I don't really know what my friends thought. I didn't have surprisingly mental blocks, even though, yeah, when it comes to sharing social media, experimenting, even now I still do have some, if, not related to me directly, but like with all this, with this account, it's so big now, and we are testing new things right now. And sometimes it's so scary. I'm just gonna lose everything, or like, because something I'm not sure if people are gonna like, and I'm like, shall we post it? Shall we not post it? But it somehow doesn't really relate to me. But I know what you're saying, because so many people, yeah, it's a huge issue, because people think so much what their friends are gonna think.
Right.
But also, you know what's interesting? Like for a long time now, I haven't been growing through learning technical skills, really. Of course, I learn technical stuff all the time when I need to learn and do something new, but it's mostly through psychology and actually finding those blocks and fixing those blocks and growing. So that's also very interesting, because I do grow my business through psychology, through my personal path, you know.
What do you mean psychology? Like, are you using psychological triggers for sales? That's where my mind always goes. Or are you talking about like mindset type of stuff too, like meditation? Is that what you're referring to?
Interesting. It doesn't. It's not so much how do we sell through psychology. It's more. I learn more about myself, and I learn more about what stops me, and that helps me to see things I didn't see before, missed opportunities, ways to grow. It's interesting how we all have so much. We all live in the same world, yeah. But for one person, it's the world of opportunities. For another person, it's a world of just complaining about life being so unfair. I've never been to that stage where I've always been a doer. So that's why it's easy for me to, when it comes to technical stuff, to learn something new, to try things new. I'm always into that. But still, there are so many opportunities. And currently, I'm also missing them because I'm sometimes scared and I don't know that I'm scared. Sometimes I'm just, it's just going inside myself and finding those blocks and things that stop me, and finding what I'm scared about, what I'm anxious about, and just fixing that allows me to see more in this world and just even meet people. It's funny, you know. I remember I had this difficult time from in my personal life, and I wasn't paying as much attention to the business at that point. And then, but I was thinking, we were stagnating, and I didn't know what to do. And I was like, yeah, what do we do? I tried several things, but I didn't have enough energy to just, and it's inspiration even. So it was like stagnating. I wasn't happy about that state and all that. And then it's interestingly enough, at the exact same time, in my LinkedIn email inbox, I had so many offers I was dreaming about, but I wasn't checking my LinkedIn. You can say it's a coincidence, you know, but then after I fixed that inside myself, so I got to a different place in life, in my personal life, in my just, you know, professional life, I found all those offers and all those opportunities. It's and it's not magic thinking. It's I mean, it's how life works. I think, you know, once we're ready for something, life presents so many opportunities. Once we are not ready, or we refuse to see it, we can't grow.
I want to stick on this a little bit, Natasha. Like, what I know, there's this book that I read, and it's 10x is easier than 2x. But in the chapter, there's a whole complete book about it too. But one of the chapters was the gap and the gain. And I used to live in the gap, meaning my business was good. Like, I was living life in California with my family. Everything was great. But then I would see competitors doing better, and I would feel bad about myself. And I would just be like, I suck as an entrepreneur. I don't know what I'm doing. They're growing a lot faster. They haven't even been in business as long as I have, and they're doing much more than me. And so I was living in the gap versus the gain. When if you had told me in 2013, when I started this podcast, Steve, you would have this life and be making this much money. Would you take it? I'd be like, hell yeah, dude, sign me up. But yet I was living in the gap. And so that mindset completely changed. And the way you're talking is the whole reason why I love what I do. And I'm sticking to the mission. It's because I know how hard it is to be an entrepreneur. It's not like the mental toll affects the physical toll, affects the family toll, it affects every little thing. And so it's a grind. It is a grind.
Yeah, exactly. And for instance, for me, I'm getting much better, but it always has been very difficult to delegate. Everybody knows we need to delegate to grow. Like as long as you do everything by yourself, and in the beginning it's okay. Yeah, you can't hire the whole team right away, and you learn things, but then you need to delegate to grow because you cannot do every single little thing and then magically come up with great ideas and exponential growth. So and everybody knows we need to do that. So it's not, and you can teach people through that. Like if you tell someone who can delegate, like just delegate.
I know.
It's psychologically super hard. It feels like you're gonna lose control. It feels like you're gonna lose everything because of that. Like how do I give it? If I give it away, it's not gonna be done correctly. But that's all in my mind. And interestingly enough, as long as I think that, I actually do hire people who don't do it right. Because I need a confirmation from the outside world that what's inside me is true, and it's hiring wrong people. And I'm not saying it's people hire like wrong people in terms of people are not capable. People may be capable, but for a different job. People may be capable, but with your control, you don't let them be capable, and then that's how we get confirmation. I knew I couldn't delegate. See, I tried. See, it didn't work. See, I'll keep doing it myself. So, and those things. So for me, it was the whole. I was training myself to do that. I was still up to this day in Slack. So often I type a response and then I delete it. Like they'll figure it out themselves.
Yeah. Oh my
And
God.
now
Yes.
now I have such a great team. Actually, they're also capable. I'm so grateful for them. They're so good. Like every single person on our team is a genius. But for me to get to this point, it took me so much training for myself, just being able to find those people, being able to let them grow, being able to let them take responsibility. It's so interesting how it works. So that's how I learn. I've been into psychology for a few years now, and I learn a lot about those invisible connections.
I love those type of books too. I want to get into some of the soft launch strategy because I think you did it the right way. Because I talk to a lot of clients and they have these ambitious goals, and I'm like, look, this is how game companies do it. But I want to just answer some questions. Yeah, 303 says, did you introduce a paywall from the initial release, or did it come later?
We did have a paywall from the initial release. Yes, we've been using subscriptions since the very beginning. So so now we do have some free content on the app. A few, maybe 10 classes anybody can try without even starting a free trial. In the beginning, we didn't have that. It was just free trial. We had a different price structure though, so people could just start with paying $5. By the way, interestingly enough, we were getting complaints that it's too expensive. And then we switched to all access model because in the beginning we were just offering part of the different training packages, $5 each. So if you just need one, you just pay $5. People were complaining. Some people were complaining it was too expensive. And then we switched to all access for $20 a month. And I was scared. I thought, yeah, now we're going to have so much more complaints. And it didn't happen. Approximately the same amount of people were now are now complaining it's too expensive for $20. So it's not. I've learned it's not the price. Really,
it's not the price. Yeah. You get that. I like that. Did your competition back then, or did you have any competition back then, or was the idea unique?
It was unique, I would say. So there were a couple of fitness apps that are still available, actually, which they launched before us, but they are so different. So in terms of, there were apps on stretching in the space, Now there are more apps in the stretching space, but we are unique in a way because what we offer, nobody else is offering the same thing. So, and still, even with this competition, it's still a niche business. So there are not so many other competitors. But when we launched, there were less, and those that were available, I think maybe they were yoga apps. So yoga apps were available.
Right.
Back then also there were so many yoga. So when we did our research, we found those two, I think, stretching apps, but they were very different because we knew from the start we're going to film videos, follow along videos where the trainer is showing the moves, is explaining, and you do the class together with her, which would help people get this offline being in class experience. So others were offering like pictures of people, not even precise ones, you know. So it was just something very, in terms of training itself, so it was very different. Yoga apps, and also quality of UX UI wasn't, I won't name the apps, but I didn't like that. But there were several, but there were yoga apps that were really nice, nicely done, nicely filmed, nice UX UI. And so we got inspiration from that. So we researched all of them because it was close to what we were doing, but we didn't consider them like direct competitors because still there are people we share and people we don't share. Because there are so many people who want to stretch but don't want to do yoga, and there are people who want to do yoga specifically because of the philosophy. So, and there are people who can do whatever. They just need to move a little. But yeah, so there was competition, but I think it's not, you know, I don't even know what's better when you have competitors or when you don't have competitors. When you don't have competitors, there is no proof that this is something that is required, you know. Right. I think it's always about the balance. If it's the space is too crowded, maybe it can be difficult to just beat the competition or at least get some share of the market. But if there is no one, then how do you know people actually need this?
Right.
Also, competition creates demand. Because the more people advertise when it comes to stretching, now each year more and more people know they need to stretch. So 10 years ago, less people knew that. It wasn't you know, I would say popular, yeah. So now we have more competitors, but then now we have more potential users also because people getting into this space and they're interested. And at the same time, never forget about TikTok. You know, who could imagine TikTok can get so big when there was Instagram? Yes. With the exact same thing. Like it was. I wouldn't encourage everybody to start an app thinking about that because it's rare, but this is just an example that anything is possible. They just happened and they took over such a big market share for something that was already established and all over the world and with so many users. And so, yeah.
Well, Natasha, I want to give you kudos. And Mateo says, love the app design and visuals too. So from right when you first started and had to fire that first person to where you're at right now, I really do. Alicia's amazing. The onboarding, I've already commended you on the onboarding. I thought it was freaking amazing too. And then the paywall, you know, I did an adaptee post on your paywall. They just said, hey, look at this paywall. And I was like, I love this paywall. This is awesome. I was like, there's nothing really that I would add, but I was like, this paywall is awesome. So you guys, I won't share it here to give away Natasha's secrets, but you guys go check out the app as well.
But thank you, Steve, because Steve audited the app on our onboarding and paywall, and Steve shared his ideas of what we can test to improve it. And that actually gave me more ideas also. So now we started the A/B testing, and I'll keep you updated, Steve. And cool. And Steve and the team, because we work with them, so they do such a great job. We've been working for maybe just 2 months now, but it's been really great. And so with all those ideas, we have this whole pipeline of what we're going to test with our paywall. Yeah. Thanks. And thank you so much for those words about UX UI, because I'm really involved in the product creation. I work with the designer a lot. So basically, it's our I don't know, maybe 50-50. So I come up with an idea and then we work very closely to make it happen. I don't have design background, but I do train myself to see as many beautiful things as possible in everywhere, not just when it comes to apps, but literally when I walk, and I'm lucky enough to live in New York, so when I walk on Fifth Avenue and all those boutiques, and they change how their windows look all the time, and I look, so I make myself stop and look and just get it in my system, just what's happening this season. You know, I take pictures, I send to my designer, and,
Oh, that's awesome.
and that helps a lot also, just when you look and see, and it gets to subconscious and then helps.
303 Experience has another question. How do you think about what to put behind a paywall? Because you said you have 10 free courses, and then what to keep locked up. How did you guys make that decision? What's free, what's paid?
Yeah, so I think there is also this dispute. Do you need freemium? Do you need just make them pay? You know, so interesting question. Thank you for this question, because we've been thinking and discussing this for so long now. So when we launched, we just there was nothing was free. Everything was behind the free trial. So then people were asking, so we were getting so many requests for people, just let us have something without a free trial, just so we try, just so we want to start a free trial, but we are scared to start. Why they're scared to start a free trial, I don't know. You can cancel, but many people are. So, and they were begging for this content. So we started offering those content. So first of all, now probably the same people complain that it's not enough. It's just 10, not 50 or something. So this the same amount of complaints, but now it's that it's not enough. But what we've learned from an analytical perspective is that people don't really take free classes. So it's specifics for fitness, I'm sure. So there may be different things happening in other businesses. So with fitness, the biggest thing is motivation. And so for people, it's really difficult. For most people, I would say, it's still difficult to motivate themselves to train. And so when they start the free trial, this is a motivation by itself. They're like, okay, I have the 7 days, I need to train. And so on average, I haven't checked the numbers recently, but from I remember last time I checked, it was 2 to 3 classes a week. And for people who didn't start a free trial, it's basically 0 classes, so less than 1. So some people, of course, do try and use the free version, but most people, they just forget. They don't have this. So people who pay, people who do a free trial, they're more likely to train. It's additional. So even for them, it's better. Them sound like, but even so we do this for people, you know. Make them pay so that they train, because that's the only way.
I like it. It's a good model. People who pay attention. I love it. I don't think there's anything wrong with what you're saying. I love it too. And I love that you have the data. It's like, because I'll talk to people, Natasha, like, no, we built an amazing app. It's going to be so sticky. And I'm like, dude, okay, you're just in it. You haven't been here enough to know that no app is going to be as sticky as you think. Because I always have the premise, Natasha, that nobody cares about whatever I'm doing. So it's always just like, okay, how do I gain the attention? How do I keep the attention? It's never like, I've got a great product and a great YouTube thing that everybody's gonna stick around. No, I'm always feeling like I have to do more and more to keep you there.
You definitely do. If it's a subscription-based app, if you just sell it, once you sold it, you're done. So you just need to find another person to sell it to. With subscriptions, people leave, people get bored. You always need, so after we launched with a lot of content. We launched with around 40 hours of video classes. That was a lot. And I think we waited a bit too long to release new content. But then people started asking. They were like, okay, but I've been doing this for 2 years now, for 3 years now. Can I get a new class, please?
That's awesome. That's amazing.
But we launched in 2016, and we started filming new content. What did in pandemic? Yeah, I'm getting help with my videographer here. So during pandemic, when was it? 2020. So we started filming new content, but not at the scale we're filming now. So back then we filmed the new kind of course. Also, people were complaining it was too difficult because we were initially focusing on more flexibility, hardcore training. So we started filming easier, shorter classes. And we filmed this absolute beginner program, and then a few months later, maybe a year later, because we did film a few classes, but we stopped. And then 2021, we realized we need to release new content constantly, just for people to be engaged, for people to want to take a class because it's new. So I wouldn't say it takes too much time and effort. So we film once a month, and we release one new class each week. But it's something we do, yeah, constantly all the time.
That's awesome. I love it. So you were saying like 4 years you didn't create any new content, dude, from when you launched to
yeah, yeah,
yeah, that's amazing. I
yeah.
love it. Thank you so much. I'm giving you a point for that because I say this all the time and I want proof, right? Like I'm like, you don't need new features. It's not always going to help you. Like, and you waited. Hey, can we have new for content? Like, no problem. I'll give that to you as well. All right. 303 is coming up with all the best questions. What's been your main growth drivers as the company has evolved? Still Insta, more word of mouth, ASO? What do you kind of
in the beginning, it was Insta and word of mouth a lot also, because people, especially, so our first users, because they were so much into flexibility, they really needed their flexibility. It was super difficult for them to find anything like what we were offering, even offline. So it's also, it's easier to be on the market when you offer a product, online product, that's not available online, but also hardly possible to find offline. Again, yoga is everywhere. Great flexibility training up until now. Here in New York, if I want to take an offline class, I just call a person I know just to train, to do a private, just because I do know a couple of classes available here in New York, but you need to know where to look. So it's still very limited. Only and I'm now talking about flexibility specifically, if you want to get your splits, crazy back bends, a contortion style. So it's difficult to find a good class still. So yeah, and back then there was a lot of word of mouth because of that. People were sharing their dance studios. We didn't do so we didn't really. I mean, of course, we filled everything out, but it was just me and my sister. So we just probably, Steve, my sister read your articles because she knows you, remembers you since 2015.
That's way back in the day. That's crazy.
When she was on the call with you afterwards, she's like, I know Steve. She was like, I was on the call. I was Steve Young. That sounds so familiar. And then she remembers, she said in 2015 when she was researching marketing for apps, she came across lots of your YouTube videos and blog posts, all that. So
back when I used to write, Natasha.
Yeah. So we did some ASO, but just ourselves. But we didn't know how to track that, how to check if we did the right job. I think just because we are we do spend time on research, and I mean, just generally smart. Awesome. And then also, my sister also has a business background, so we were, and we knew the stretching world inside and out. So I'm pretty sure even without testing, we did come up with decent keywords and with decent descriptions. So yeah, but then we started doing some user acquisition just ourselves in the beginning, and that's how we were. Now of course we do everything. Now we do user acquisition, we do ASO with the Steve's teams right now, which is great. And everything you can think of. So now we're doing a lot of A/B testing for paywalls, and we are social media-wise, we are focusing on growing our other channels as well, because we're really big on Instagram, but smaller on other platforms. So looking everywhere. So basically, anything that's available. We've been testing a lot this year in terms of how to get new users on board.
I love it. I love it. Okay, last question. I wait. All right, Shane, I'll do you. What is the ratio of Apple to Android users?
Oh, so in our case, Apple is probably 20 times bigger than Android right now.
Wow, 20?
Yeah, it's a very big difference. I don't know what we need to. So our Android is really great. So it's really strange. So when we get people through the website, because we also have a fully operational website, not just for a paywall, but people can actually go and train on the website as well. That's how we initially created it.
Love it.
And we keep it this way so that people have options. When we get people through the website, I would say it's more like 50-50, unless we target iOS for the website through user acquisition campaigns. Yeah. So if it's organic, if it's through social media, it would be 50-50 split. When it comes to just getting people through the App Store versus Google Play, and somehow, so we are now started testing Google Play ads again, but somehow we haven't been still successful in growing our Android, even though because of the website and also because of the brand, because we want to be a well-established, known brand. So we cannot afford not having Android. So I think that's not, unless you're very specifically interested in iOS users. But then if you want to go international, there are so many people on Android all over the world, and there are countries where more people use Android than iOS. So for us, it has never been an option to not even have Android. So our Android is on the same level as iOS, same design, same features. When we update iOS, we also update Android. But it's been very difficult for us somehow to grow through Google Play. So I'm not sure at this point, it's like one of the failures, I would say, having a great product, but not being able to actually get users through Google Play. So it's there are sales, but they're like 20%, 20 times less than iOS. So it's nothing compared to iOS. So if we lose it, we won't even notice, honestly. We get more, but when we get, but though, yeah, we get revenues from the website, and many people on the website, they pay on the website, but they use Android.
Oh, I see. That's good.
It's strange though, because when I look at competitors and yoga apps, and now apps available in stretching space, so it's not, I see, yeah, most of them do have less revenues in Android, but not, the gap is not as big as ours. So ours is huge. So I'm sure there's potential. Just need to focus more to grow there.
Natasha, I think we have to do a two-parter. There's too many things I want to ask you, and I don't think we have the time. Okay, I'm gonna try to figure out which one's more important. Since the web is doing well for you, talk to me about, like, did you have to build a brand new platform? Because you said I can take the classes on the web too. Like,
Yes.
there's some free classes, so I can take some classes on the web too. Did you build your own unique platform?
Yes. We created our own platform. So now, for maybe last 2 years, we use Vimeo. So we connected Vimeo to play the videos. But before that, we had our own player. It's just, we did that for just security purposes. It was just easier to make sure, classes cannot be downloaded from the website. So we switched to Vimeo. It's the website is created from scratch. We launched it in 2018, I think. Yeah.
Congratulations. Okay. And now, the thing I really want to talk about is a soft launch strategy. So which countries did you launch in first, and how did you decide which country to launch in first?
It was actually fun, real fun. So when I say we asked people on Instagram, we didn't ask them just to ask and just to get some. We actually followed their advice. So the first country we launched was Canada, and that was our coders, I think, suggested, or maybe we found something on the internet saying that Canadians are similar to Americans. So we knew our core market is going to be the US. So for a soft line launch, Canada seemed good. Similar audience, English-speaking country, so we launched there. But then afterwards, we didn't really have any schedule, so because we could launch anywhere, but we wanted to just make people be more engaged and just
so tease them.
So often in life you just need to ask. It's there, but if you don't ask, we don't get it. So we were like, okay, you just tell us. And people were saying in comments, and I would go on Instagram, just just look at the numbers, like how many people asked for what, and just release that country. And for me, it was just fun, just fun. I would wake up, I go on Instagram. I would read those comments. I would pick a country. I would launch, announce on Instagram, go for a walk.
Oh my God, I love it. Yeah, and were you like trying when you were doing the soft launch, were you looking at the numbers? What were you looking at? Because I can tell you like from games, they're just trying to really focus on retention, monetization, LTV. So they're doing a lot of tests in these soft launch. What were you kind of looking at when you were launching in Canada alone?
Oh, our bug was so buggy. We were just hoping it's gonna work. So we were just looking like, is it working? So we launch here, we launch there. Is it working? And also because there were so many bugs, and we didn't want to launch like super buggy app in the US. So our coders, while we were launching, they were fixing those bugs, and we were basically waiting for them to finally come up with a decent product we can launch in the US.
Oh, I love it.
So that was, I mean, I wish we did all those tests. I think, I mean, maybe it's an excuse. um, but I think it was harder to test back then just because less platforms were available, less
True.
service providers were available. But we didn't have money because we were running out of money. I was actually running out of savings we were launching. I actually got to the point, because when we started, I quit my job. So I had savings from being a lawyer, and I lived from those savings for like 2 years and investing in the app, and actually got to the point where I got almost to zero in my bank account. And and I remember, it's actually a funny story. I remember I was in Bali again. I went to Bali to save money because it's much cheaper to live there
We thought
compared
you were
to New
just
York.
vacationing.
Yeah, I went there to save because I could maintain my lifestyle, but just way less. And I remember I was in Bali. I found this villa, and I loved it so much, but I didn't have money to pay to pay rent. So I went to Starbucks. It was Wednesday, and I was sitting there. I was like, how do I make money right now, urgently? I need it urgently. And then I realized it was November, and I was like, oh, okay, Black Friday is on Friday. It was Wednesday, and I was like, Black Friday is on Friday. How do we do that? We're only offering monthly subscriptions back then. So I was like, is there a way to sell yearly subscriptions, maybe through PayPal, so that we get the money directly? And I just messaged my sister. I was like, let's try do sales. She's like, yeah. We didn't have a website. It was manual work. We would just, I think there was, I don't remember if links were available, payment links in PayPal, or maybe they were available. I
Yeah.
just missed them.
Mhm.
But I just announced on Instagram, if you want to purchase a yearly subscription, send us a message and we'll send you an invoice. As
Oh
crazy as
my
it sounds.
God.
So people were messaging, I was sending them invoices, and we were manually giving them access to the app for each particular person. But I did get over the Black Sale, I did get enough money to pay for the villa, which was great.
Wow. I love this story. You know, one of my favorite interviews, and this is becoming one of my favorites, Natasha. Like Christy, she was the founder of Planet, and she's gone on to do really well. I've kept in touch with her. But essentially, she worked for a year for a company, for an app development company, doing social media for them while they built the app for free. So she said, we'll barter. And she did the whole pre-launch. She did similar things. She was posting content. And then she had this community of influencers who was ready to promote. So on day one, she was able to make money, and $10,000 is upfront paid app in the beginning, but she made $10,000 within the first week because she was just hustling for a year. You know what I mean? And I was just like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
I
We made
remember.
less. We made less first month, but but yeah, it definitely, because I think that's one of the biggest mistakes, especially. I mean, for me, because I came from the business world, that was obvious. So for me, my mistakes were mainly in the coding space because I didn't have any experience in technology. So that's why I wrong code. That's why 2 years to launch. But with this business background, business understanding, for me, it wasn't a question that we need to start doing marketing before we launch so that we do get people to use it. So I think when you come from tech, this part may be missing, and the product can be way better than ours was because you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
but without this marketing component, it may be difficult to sell, at least at first.
Look, you share what you want to share, Natasha, but this is a question that Mateo asked too. Sensor Tower says the MRR is around 200,000. What did the revenue growth look like? I think I would break this down into like, what do you think helped you go over the 6-figure a month mark?
Uh, so many things. So many things, because there is no one thing that happens and you grow. Because I think it's a very popular, common question. What did you do to um, to become successful,
Right.
basically? Yeah. So how did you? And it's great, because everybody wants to hear just this one thing, because that's like sounds so easy, so achievable, and like in a fairy tale, like one day I just woke up and I came up with a crazy idea and I just implemented it the next day, and the next day I was famous and rich and all that. So unfortunately, it doesn't happen this way. It's never like that. It's never like that. You have to do so much to make this happen. It's just everyday work. It's of course, for six figures, you do need a team for sure, because you cannot just keep doing everything by yourself. You do need to have a vision. You do need to test and try as many different things as possible. You do need to not be scared of making a mistake, because we all make mistakes, we all fail. And successful people are not those who don't fail. Successful people, those who keep going after they fail. They actually learn. So I don't even treat failures as failures anymore. It's just lessons, And so just just work, just come up with new ideas. Just in terms of, if we're talking just numbers, yeah. So I would say you do need to do user acquisition most of the time to grow, because that's going to just support your growth. But again, here it's really important to know that it's all about, especially if it's subscription-based apps, because if you just sell one time, but then also you need to somehow increase your LTV, so you need to think about ways to sell them again something. So it's always about retention. It's always about how do you keep those people. It's all about, because with user acquisition, the biggest issue is that you invest a lot in user acquisition. User acquisition is super expensive most of the time, yeah. So it takes months for you to recoup the investments, several months. At least like 2-3. For some apps, it takes a year and longer than a year to recoup the initial investments. And I don't know if they even make money afterwards or just break even. But it's important to know that, like, okay, so you can get to six figures easily by just investing six figures in user acquisition. So and you'll get there. Like if you invest $1 million, you'll hopefully, if you don't just burn it, you'll get maybe, I don't know, 600K that same month back. Something like that. But then it's the job is not done, because you need to retain to stay at that level, because you can get less users and make more profits versus you get more users and less profits. And I think also what's important, what your goal is, because if your goal is to make this business profitable, it's one strategy. If you just want to grow it and sell it, it's a different strategy. Because for the second strategy, now investors, of course, pay more attention on what's your retention, what's your profitability. Several years ago, they would just purchase something that's growing. So now it's a different market. But still, so your priorities then would be different, because we've been focusing on growth for a little while. So we focus more on profitability and growth with growing profits at the same time. And now we are currently, because all this year, since January, we've been testing so many different things, and we've been doing a lot of restructuring within the company. And we are working on a very exciting B2B project. We're about to launch it. So I expect by the end of the year, we're going to be in a very different, at a very different level. If everything goes as I plan.
Well, you said it early on too, when we were talking about Instagram. Early on in the beginning, if for those who are in the beginning, I know a few of them are just starting to get going, like Trap and Run. This is my first app. My MVP is expected to launch in August. The beginning is the fun part, because once you get big to this size, because you're willing to try anything, you have nowhere to go but up. But once you get to a big following, you're now afraid that, hey, if I do this, I'm gonna lose this, and so you become. Yeah, you become a little bit less, you become more cautious. But kudos to you, Natasha, for always testing out new stuff, even at the level you're at, because I think that's what it takes too. And that's a philosophy I try to emulate, like that beginner mindset. Let's try it. Let's have some fun. And that's what I always say to my team. Let's try it. Let's have some fun.
Interestingly enough, I don't know why I get way more scared when it comes to social media than when we do, because when we just do A/B testing, because we can always stop it. We see the numbers right away. So I'm never, I don't, I'm not afraid to just release a new update and lose all the customers. Also, I'm so confident with the product because I'm so deeply involved. I love the product. I use it myself every single day since we launched in 2016. The classes were already in like 2015. I've been using for so many years myself. I love it. So I know, and we even, I mean, I won't recommend that. Steve would probably criticize me, but we do release features, many features without even testing, because I just know it's good. I just know it, and people love it. So we haven't had that issue yet. Where we release an update and people like, you've destroyed the app. So, but it's when it comes to social media, I don't know why. Somehow, I don't know, maybe publicity. Again, but it's in me. It's not in the reality. It's just in me. Because we've been testing a lot of different approaches starting this year. Because this year, one of the goals for me was to start to learn film viral content. Our biggest video on Instagram for this year is now 7.5 million views. Again, it doesn't go as easy as I thought, because I thought we'll start posting, you will get to minimum 1,000,000 views every single time. So it's not happening. But we've been testing all these different types of videos and approaches, and that's scary. But I always, if it's scary, I go there also. So I just look at my fears and proceed and try to learn from that. Like, what's really scary? What I'm afraid of? Why do I think I'm gonna lose?
Yeah, I love it. Hey, how are you in time? Because I know I don't want to keep you any longer than we have to.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, maybe we can get through these really quick, and then if you need to hop off, we can hop off, and I'll do the app audit stuff on my own. But I got a few questions.
I'm actually, I have plenty of time.
Okay, all right, Natasha. Well, thank you. We got a lot of viewers tuning in live with you. All right, what does the churn rate look like? Does it follow the typical B2C subscription curves, where a certain percentage of each new cohort tends to stick around for years? So what I do know from a macro level, this is what Revenue Cat said: the yearly subscription, which I'm going to assume most people are on, it's about 23% stay on for the second year. So I don't know. Share what you want to share, Natasha, because you don't know who the heck is listening. So
yeah, so we do have we've like about how it's what you mentioned in the question is correct in our case. So yeah, we do have a percentage of users that use the app for years. And I want to grow that percentage, of course, because we do lose a lot of customers in the first month, in the first year, and then there is a percentage that sticks for. We have users who's been using the app since 2016, really. So we still have some of those users. So and for Stripe. I recently noticed, so Stripe shows, and it's only for the website, so the numbers may be higher for iOS. I haven't checked that, but for Stripe they show like most paying users, and we have users who pay like almost $2,000 to us for an app with $20 per month. So that's crazy when I saw that. I think it was. Forgot the biggest was 1,600 or 1,800 or something like that. So I assume people were paying monthly and then yearly, and it just, or maybe stayed monthly for so many years. But that's crazy numbers when I see them. But I wish more people were as good customers as those, my favorite ones.
What I know of talking to other people too in the app space, the web users tend to have lower churn and higher retention too. So kudos to you for having a web product as well.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. So true. Yeah, absolutely. But again, this year I'm also focusing on retention. So I want to increase retention, and with all those tests, and there are things, new updates in the works, specifically focusing on this. And I got some ideas from your podcast also, Steve, with other people.
I'll take all the credit.
I was on the plane and I was just listening. I downloaded your podcast and I was listening and just typing down, like pausing all the time and just typing down ideas that I was getting.
I know somebody's doing that right now as we speak. Jane says you have very few negative reviews than some of the other apps I've seen with similar acquisition methods and subscription models. Do you have any strategies to avoid these negative reviews beyond just creating a great product?
I was.
That's a lot.
You're stealing my lines. So I'm very proud. We've never, I mean, and people are not allowed to do that, but I know that some people do. But we've never purchased reviews. Not a single review is purchased or anyhow. Even sometimes people message us and saying, give me free access, I'll leave a good review, and we say no to that, just because we don't want to incentivize reviews. We want them to be honest. So, and that's what we tell people. We say we can maybe offer you a discount or try our free classes, but we want you to just, if you want to leave a review, just leave an honest review. So it's all about, I think it's two things. Yeah, it's creating a great product and just create something you love. Because I love STRETCHIT. I really love it. I think it's the best in the world for stretching. I use it every day. It's really great. So if I love it, why other people won't love it? Of course, some people hate it, like everything. But again, if everybody loves what you do, you do something wrong. There is a saying like that. But then also listen to your customers. We've always been very focused on the customer support. In early days, and early days lasted for 2 years, more than 2 years. Me and my sister were the ones responding to the reviews. And we tried to do this as fast as possible. We were actually typing out those messages using some knowledge base, but still it was very personalized, never just copy paste, never just, not paying attention. So that was very helpful because for 2.5 years, actually, we were doing it ourselves. And then we started hiring the team. And right now, so we have four people on our client support team who just only job to answer those requests, and our client support is so great. It's I think for any business here in the US, it's in the top. I don't know percentage, but people sometimes we get the messages like they're surprised they got a response at all, and I'm like, what businesses do you work with, when you have that low expectations? But it's very important. Just pay attention to what people are saying, because people are saying things they don't like. People are saying things that they wish they had, but you don't offer that right now, because more than half of our updates are just based on what people ask us. So it's actually easy. So I have a vision. So I have things I want to implement. But again, because I use the app and because that's what I want to see on the app, and I think it's going to be very helpful. But in terms of other people, they just tell you. They tell us what classes they want. They tell us what features they want, and we just follow. Just listen. Make notes, and that helps. People get so excited if they ask for something and they get it, because it still feels like those app on the app store, like, yeah, you can send feedback, but nobody listens. Everybody has this perception, But can you imagine if you start using an app and you message them and they're like, okay, thank you, we'll transfer it to to another department, and then a month later you get a message like, yeah, that has been implemented. People get very happy when that happens. Yeah. So in terms of most of our negative reviews, it's just people complaining that the app is not free.
Yeah. So that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, we used to have so also, yeah, we pay attention to what they say in those reviews, because we used to get a lot of reviews, people complaining it wasn't for beginners, for example, and we did have those reviews. So we just changed we filmed new content, those review stops.
Yeah, so. I love it. That's the common theme. I talked to the Relaxed Melodies, Simon, and he said that's what he was doing for the first couple of years. He was the one doing customer support. And you can see all the founders that are passionate about their product, they're going to be the ones really paying attention to the user feedback as well. All right, yeah. Natasha, I know you don't have any jokes, but I want to get into the app audit side of the interview. So let's start off with some dad jokes. And if you guys got a dad joke for Natasha, put them in the comments as well. Louder than I wanted. I gotta lower volume here. Let's see. I got one for you because I like it. I found a yoga one. I know it's not the same. I know. I literally like, what's the difference between stretching and yoga? Because I was like, I need to do both, and they're like, yeah, you should do both. That's what they say. Okay, here we go, Natasha. Okay, thing is ready to go. A little bit louder. All right. What did the yoga instructor say to their landlord when they tried to evict them?
Breathe and relax.
Namaste.
Namaste.
I must stay. I was like, what is it? So I think it's like, I must stay, something like that. Anyways.
Namaste.
All right, we'll take a look at, if you want your app featured in a future live stream, just go to appmasters.com/audit, appmasters.com/audit. All right, Natasha, we've got Zach's app. He's got a pill and medication reminder. Look, you said it too. You thought it was a niche app. I think I love niche apps. And then especially if the niche is going to grow, right? Because it could be
Yeah.
considered a niche in the very beginning, but then expand to be something that is not a niche anymore as well. Because we've seen on our end, niche quote unquote apps have higher activation rates too, higher conversions, more likely to pay. You are searching for stretching, you find STRETCHIT, you're more likely to pay than, I don't know, if you're looking for just fitness or workout in general, right? So take a look at his app. Anything on the App Store front that you want to mention here? He's got 100,000 rate downloads already, 4.7.
Oh, that's a lot. I'm not that familiar with Google Play, honestly, when it comes to product pages, because we just copy our iOS most of the time. Maybe that's one of the reasons we're not growing that fast. So, but the landscape view, is it for desktop specifically? On the phone, it's going to be
Let's check.
Portrait view for the screenshots and.
Yeah, so the screenshots don't show up on the search results for Google Play. Now I haven't found a phone. I don't use Android that often. I just have one for my test stuff. So let me pull it up, the app itself on Android, and then I'll show you what it looks like. But yeah, it doesn't show up as much on the reminder on the search results. So I don't think they are number one. Good job.
Good.
So here, they're number one here. So that's why I don't pay attention. So one thing I'll add to Zach is we have found that sometimes having the main keywords you're targeting, so like whether it's pill or just reminder in general, because you have a pill look on the icon, having that word does increase conversions for Android and even on iOS. So like you can try to put pill right here, but here's what it looks like on the phone itself. So. And then
is it I'm just seeing that the horizontal images.
Yep.
You know, because on the phone, I feel that horizontal images take less space. So I don't know if there is any specific reason behind that, because just vertical may get more attention just because when you scroll, that's basically like gets on your phone. But that's not just it's for everything. It's on social media, like on Instagram, you know, when because they used to have this horizontal, and people who were growing, they were not using that just because it's easy to scroll through, you know. So just in terms of the presentation on the store, maybe something I would test against each other, vertical versus horizontal.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I think he's got everything else locked and loaded. I mean, pill reminder, if you are trying to focus just on one, then just maybe go all in on one and then put the other one in the short description. I can't see the short. I think this is a short description. Never miss a medication again. Remember, reminder, alarm tracker, all that stuff. So we have tried to repeat stuff in the title and subtitle or short description in the Google Play, and that does help a little bit as well. So let's get into
I liked the first image because it said exactly what the app does, and that was very helpful. This never forget another pill. Not just it doesn't just say what the app does. It's like shows the benefits you'll get. You know, it's one thing to say the app will remind you about the pill. It's another thing to say never forget another pill. That's more powerful.
I like it. Okay, let's take a look at the app itself from monetization. When do you take your medication? I tend to take my vitamins in the noontime. So I'll just say vitamins. Yeah, got one. I like that. That's cool. Great notification feature. I'll just do that for right now. Goes back. Okay. I don't see a paywall, but All right, here's the paywall, Natasha. You got any feedback for?
What's the difference between a premium and ad-free?
Oh, they're doing it this way. It looks like one is just removes ads, but no premium features, and then one is all the premium features and removing ads.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, to really think about a trial, like, and, for an app like this, I think getting them into a trial and then paying, they're probably gonna stick with it because it's probably a daily use app. So, I think what I would do is, personally, I would just remove the ad-free messaging and just make add trial to this. And because you're on Android, and if you're only Android only, Zach, like, really think about pricing. I know Android users are a little bit more price sensitive, but this is where discounting and having a really low price helps. And I talked to another developer friend of mine who has a higher price point on, it's about like $60 on iOS, but it's about $40 to $50 on Android. You typically have to be charging a lot less on Android to make the money. Obviously, ads plays a part in Android, but you have to show this paywall during the onboarding process. And I prefer, I mean, something for you to test would be to just show the premium plan and the prices and just lead with that. I don't think this is the way I would prefer to go because it's too many taps and I tend to forget what the benefits are. Now I'm only focused on the price. You want to have them focus more on the benefits, just like Natasha said. You'll get complaints either way, whether the price is high, low, it doesn't matter. Yeah, people will complain about the price. So have them focus more on the benefits. When you're doing it this way, I lose these premium features, and my focus is now purely on the price. And again, you're going to get complaints, and people don't want to pay, especially on Android too. That would be my feedback to test.
I have a question for you, Steve.
Oh, sure.
You mentioned when apps charge less on Android versus iOS. Hasn't Have you ever heard for this like backfiring? You know, because people, especially with social media and everything, when people start complaining, iOS people, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it could backfire. I think it's just a small percentage of people that would notice because most people aren't cross-platform. But yes, I think I had one. Well, okay, so the client that I do have, pretty big app in the astrology space, and what they were noticing was that Android was not supported with a lot of the different features. And so a lot of complaints, people like, how come this is not fair? How come these features are on iOS, but not on Android? And so, yeah, I think that's probably more where I would probably veer towards. But I think that most people will just understand that Android is going to be a little bit cheaper because, so I don't think it's a huge concern. And my friend didn't say anything about it being a problem for him. So, okay. Natasha, Nathan came up with a joke for you. Why did the Scarecrow win the Nobel Prize?
I don't know who this Scarecrow is. English is my second language. I don't know this word.
Oh, okay. Scarecrow is just like this like straw man in the farm field. So he just stands there and just a big dummy in the. It's supposed to scare away the crows and not have them eat your corn.
Okay, I know. I know those guys.
Okay. Nathan, the punchline is he was standing out in his field.
Oh,
there you go. All right.
Thank you.
So put N if you thought Nathan's joke was better, and put S if you thought my joke was better, if you remember my joke anyways. All right, let's take a look at Marco's app, and then we'll let Natasha go because she doesn't want to spend the whole day with me. All right. This is a resume app, first impression, UI, UX, and monetization feedback. All right, Natasha. So it's a resume builder. Any quick little feedback for what's your first impression of the app?
Yeah, can you please share?
Oh, sorry, my bad. I was not sharing my screen. So it looks like it just started. Marco, 1 rating. Land your dream job with your best CV.
I have a comment for the video. Maybe we didn't. I wasn't watching from the beginning, but and I know that Apple encourages to demonstrate the app, and it of course makes sense to demonstrate the app. But I would of course demonstrate the app, but I would add also some benefits. How can you use that? So that it's because people are not looking for like how to use the app. tutorial, right? They want to see what benefits they're going to get from using that. So I would show something. I would even show a person just film like a real person, you know, like using with the phone to communicate that that's how the person is, you know, like creating a review for themselves, and then show what we're able to create on the app. You know, that so it's easy, it's simple, it's beautiful. And so the less screens are there, the more simple it's going to look, because now, even though it's very thorough and probably shows a lot of different features on the app, from because I wasn't looking very, very closely, you know, what's happening, it's just happens on the background kind of. But then I see there are so many steps, there are so many different things happening, and for subconsciously, just for me, it creates as if, oh, that's a very difficult thing to use. So I would make it more like a promo video than just a demonstration of the app, and include those major designs, major yeah, like what we did here. I don't know if it's good to like use myself as an example.
No, I love that you're showing the little mouse cursor too. Boom, take a class and it goes away. So I think it's really well done.
We're actually updating it right now because we changed it, so it's gonna soon look a bit different because we changed designs of the app. So I'm going to improve this also. Yeah, but for me, showing a trainer in the very beginning and her doing the moves, it just like sets the mood for the video. And then my goal here was to show the flow, how the app helps them choose the right class for them. So that was the goal here. I would focus on, it's really easy to create a resume with this app. And I would definitely show the final product, like what do I end up with? And then maybe, like if you want to get more creative, maybe like show people actually getting a job. You know, so that it's like a person, yeah, I would think of more, more like a promo video you would use on social media, but with, of course, demonstrating the app also.
Oh, I love it. Okay, let me pull up the app now and then we'll go. I'm looking at your app. Stretch it here too. All right, here it is. Let me find it. CV pop. Okay. Oh, this is long.
Yeah, this is very important. Maybe it's just bad timing, because I mean, sometimes I get so worried. So sometimes I open the app and something like this happens in STRETCHIT, and I get so worried. I like message the team immediately, like asking people to check if it's just me, my connection or something. So so maybe it's just, you know, whatever is happening in that same second. But of course, normally it should work fast.
Okay, I'm gonna hit allow. All right, Marco, I'm gonna give you a star. You need some stars.
I wouldn't put, I don't know, Steve, do you have any good experience with like putting up stars in the very beginning of the flow?
It does work. It's been hit or miss. Sometimes it leads to like 4 stars and not 5 stars. And then other clients, other friends and clients have told me, yeah, it does work for them. About 1% leave a rating. So it has to, you'd have to test it. It does work for people. Like one of the people I've talked to, they have like 4.8, 4.9 ratings, and they do ask for it right on the onboarding before the paywall and everything else.
Interesting. So, yeah, because I've never tried that. I've always thought like how people would rate it if they haven't tried it.
Yeah, same. I think here's what I would test is try a weekly look. Marco, I couldn't go through your onboarding because your app was slow. So really think through that. Oh no, you skipped the onboarding. Okay, well, your app was pretty slow, bro. I didn't know what was happening. So I'm glad you're still here. But test out weekly, monthly, and then maybe even 6 months as a benefit, because we do know that Superwall said this, so did Adapting. 3 plans tend to convert the best because you give them options. And the way I like to think about the 3 plans is back to psychology, but more on the sales side, Natasha, is having the one plan that's the cheapest. So for those who are price sensitive or just need a one-time, hey, I'm applying for some jobs, I just need it for 1 week and then I'll unsubscribe. That's what the weekly option is all about. And then you have the monthly, that is the 6 month is probably, or the 3 month is going to be your ideal, right? Because you get more of the money up front. And then the 1 month is just a complete decoy, is to make the 6 months look the most appealing. And so I have case studies on this where I've talked about this, but that's how I like to do decoy. And then the analogy that I've seen on the internet is if you go to a movie theater, you see a medium popcorn for like $8 and a large popcorn for $9, right? And most people just buy the $9 popcorn. So that's what I mean by decoy pricing, is get them to buy something that is obvious to buy. So
also, Steve, would you maybe change the positioning of 1 month and 3 months? Because I feel like it's easier with the thumb to press on the right side for most people.
Well, I like that the continue button's right there. So I think it's fine. One client, and I hope they don't mind me saying this, they tested columns versus rows, and they saw that rows won out. So three columns versus 3 rows. They saw that the rows won out there. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I personally use rows in my apps for
I'm gonna test rows soon. But I was saying, because here 3 months is on the left and 1 month is on the right.
Yeah.
What if because I somehow, and I don't have any research on that or anything, and I haven't even tested that, but somehow I feel like, you know, for the thumb, it's just easier because we want them to subscribe for 3 months, right? So I would put 3 months to the right and 1 month to the left.
Okay, let me try opening it again. I deleted the app, Natasha, just so I can go through Marco's onboarding, because he's here. See, when you show up live, I feel bad. Oh, Marco, I can't get it anymore. Sorry, bro. I guess you remember that I downloaded it. Okay. So you got some ads in here. My bad, man. So definitely have some onboarding. Sorry I couldn't get through it, but we do have a video of an app just like yours, Marco, where the onboarding, having onboarding screens that are beneficial, win that job, land that job, do it. Yeah, Natasha, to answer your question, I don't know. It's already pre-selected, so I think it's fine, but it's also worth testing too. I typically like to do the cheaper plan on the left, so that because people read left to right, and so that way, yeah. So I might flip these and see if that makes a big difference at all, or not. But this is what I mean by decoy. Just make this price higher then, and if you want people to buy this, so that it becomes a no-brainer. All right. Cool, Natasha. We went long, so thank you for going along with me. Thank you for setting up this beautiful layout and this beautiful camera with that really cool mic. Anything I missed that you want to make sure we cover?
We covered so much. I mean, I can talk all day.
And I can talk to you all day. I've got a lot more questions for you.
I think we covered quite a lot. I don't know if there are any more questions.
Let's see. Nothing right now. I mean, if you want to keep going, Natasha, Shane's got a question. One of the more common complaints I see with other apps is the difficulty of cancellation. I think this happens when they're trying to guide it through the purchase. So I don't know if anything.
I mean, for us, we purposely make it easier. I mean, we don't put it on the on the home screen, like, you know, as a pop-up always happening every time you open the app. But yeah, I've never, because I know that hiding cancellation may like increase LTV a little, but I always think like I don't want people who don't want to use the app. And I don't want people who keep the app because they don't know how to cancel. So we do have cancellation on both apps. Of course, people can cancel through their phones, through settings, but they also can cancel on the app. On the website, it's also very easy. You just go to your profile, and there is it's very easy to find. So it's like right there where you expect it to be, and you just cancel. I want to test special offers for the website when people try to cancel and offering them something. So that's in the pipeline. But when I do that, I won't make it too long. I won't make it like, because people try to cancel, but then you put this cancellation in a smaller font, and so that and then a different button up, so that, you know, trick people into staying. I don't want to trick people into staying. I don't want to. I just, as a person, I'm like, who wants to be with me, there with me, you know, who don't want, like, of course, go cancel. But therefore, people don't complain. We do get sometimes messages, oh, I couldn't find a way to cancel, help us cancel, and our support team immediately cancels those subscriptions. But they are very rare, and I'm sure it's not because of our UX. It's just I don't know, just a very, very small percentage of people can find it. But it's right there where you expect it to be in your profile settings.
Love it.
So, but I think I would focus on creating a great product people want to use, because that's in the long term. Okay, you get a few bucks in the short term. People can cancel, then leave this terrible review. Other people won't start. Why?
I love it. Mateo says, thank you for sharing everything, Natasha. Nathan says, good stuff as well.
Thank you.
Look, guys, I love stretching. It's something I need to do more. I have some back pain right now, Natasha, that I need to really, so I've been doing a lot of bridges and trying to really get that done. But it is stretchitapp.com if you want to check out the website, or just search for Stretch It in your favorite app store as well. Natasha, if the audience wants to connect with you in any other way, do you want to send them anywhere else?
Sure. Yeah. Now I check my LinkedIn inbox after the time when I found so many really important messages and offers and everything. So I think LinkedIn is the easiest. Probably just message me on LinkedIn or on Instagram. On Instagram, I check it out not that often. But if you just wanna connect with me through email, you can just email support@stretchitapp.com, and they'll forward the message to me also. So that's another way. Oh, or maybe, I don't know, natasha.nikolaeva@stretchitapp.com. But probably it's harder to type than support.
It's copy and paste. They can do that within YouTube as well. Anne says, thank you, Natasha. Wasim Shane says, I'm going to take a class later today. There you go.
Good,
Natasha,
good.
Right. James says, Steve, I hope you're good. Dropping a lot of gems. Thank you, James. Good to see you. Natasha, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all your knowledge and going an hour and a half. Thank you to the audience. I'm surprised that we've been able to maintain such a high viewership throughout the entire thing. So thank you guys so much. Next Friday, we're going to talk a little bit about rewarded UA. You know, Tapjoy, think about that stuff. But it's a new type of UA channel, especially if you're in the games. It's going to come interesting for subscription apps because games are always leading that. So join us. That's next Friday. Join us every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific to really break down what's working in the app space. Natasha, thank you so much for coming on doing this.
Great. Thank you so much, Steve, for having me. I really enjoyed it.
You're amazing.
I've just recently discovered that I love being on podcasts. So if anybody wants to be on the podcast, please message me. I'll probably love to do that. It's real fun. Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you so much, everybody who listened and who's going to listen on YouTube. Good luck with your apps. Good luck with your businesses. Just keep going. You're going to get there. Just keep going and maintain the positive attitude. It's very important.
No better way to end that. You're a superstar, Natasha. So go book her. Her calendar is going to get full soon. Trust me. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next Friday.